positive transformational experiences through acts of kindness. I'm hosting a series of live interviews with leaders in our community that are doing just that. Some are individuals, some represent organizations. Tonight, I am joined by Kate Snyder, who is with Piper and Gold. You're the principal strategist and owner of Piper and Gold Public Relations. Kate, thanks so much for taking time out tonight.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
So, Kate, you recently published a blog that I think is going to be very important for people who have nonprofits, who own nonprofits, or volunteer for nonprofits. The blog shared research that you specifically did on funding sources for nonprofits during the COVID-19 epidemic. I'm wondering if you can share what you found.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of nonprofits, and a number of them have had to cancel like major fundraising events or have seen decreases in corporate support because corporate sponsors are struggling. And so all of a sudden they're finding themselves in these financial crises, which is like nonprofit is always tough. And then on top of all of this. And so as I'd see an article that's like, oh, so-and-so is awarding $200 million. And then you click through the article and be like, wow, it's actually already been awarded. And that's great. It's super cool, like that companies and corporations are stepping up and doing these kind of things. But when you're scrounging around for money, there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down.
You don't want to take that time to do all that research because you end up in a rabbit hole, and then what does that do to your psyche? You just give up.
And then too, I would see stuff and then you click through and they'd be like, come back for details. It's like, we're gonna do this thing. Cool. I'll be back later. And so I decided to go through and basically I found every nonprofit funding source that I possibly could. I looked through nonprofit news. I looked at like the Council of Michigan Foundations, the National Council of Foundations, all these different resources and people that were talking about who's giving money out. And then I went down each of those individual rabbit holes. And it ended up being such a big rabbit hole that I actually had to pull in some of our additional team members to help me, because I couldn't do it all by myself. And we weeded out any nonprofit grants that either had already been awarded, their application deadline had closed, or they had yet to announce an application process or deadline. And we took what was left, the ones that actually had money and had an application process and were giving it out, and we put it all together in a blog post specifically for nonprofits in Michigan or those that operate in Michigan to be able to access these dollars to try to support them specifically for COVID-19.
And that is why I have your website going across our screen right now. That information is so valuable for people who run nonprofits. So if I visit your website, I can find that blog post.
Yeah, so if you just go to our website and click on what we say, you'll see our blog, and it's just right up there at the top. It's got a sassy title because that's how I roll. So I think it's something along the lines of like nonprofit resources for when shiz gets real. I use the Z in the actual blog post too, because I know sometimes nonprofits can be a little more conservative than my typical language. But
thank you for that good news, because that is good news, because there's a lot of those, and if you've done the work, that just takes a lot of stress off the nonprofit manager, honestly volunteer, right? Because we all, if we're on a board or we're volunteering, we're all talking about the same thing. So talking about communication, because that's what you do. That's what you do. We're in unprecedented times. What advice do you have for the small business owner or anyone who's really in running a business?
Yeah, well, first, like, I see you. It is always stressful to run a business. And then right now, it is just next level. Whether you're operational right now or not operational, the responsibility, the weight, the burden is so I think that just like knowing that you're not alone and that that's acknowledged is really powerful. But specifically from a communications standpoint, right now people want human connection. And I think that you have to be willing to do some uncomfortable things as a leader that we're not used to doing, particularly as business leaders. And that is to be vulnerable right now. And this is like, I mean, for me, of all people to be talking about this, like, it's got to be unprecedented times because I am well known for my steely stoicism and ice queen exterior. And yet, like, we have to. We have to connect with our employees and we have to connect with our customers and clients. And we have to be willing to like actually let them in because everyone is just so raw right now. And in the absence of information, people are going to create their own narratives and they are going to jump to the worst case scenarios. So whether that's communicating with your employees, how you're actually doing financially as a company, even if that's bad news, like they have a right to hear
Lay
that.
it out on the line.
They have a right to hear that. And if that's not actually what's happening and you're just trying to like protect them, which is another thing I see a lot of business owners doing, like you're not actually helping because they're going to assume that you're not doing fine and that they need to be looking for a new job. So, being vulnerable with your employees and then with your customers too, like letting them know, hey, we're hurting. We want to be here whenever we emerge from this. And we need your help to get us there. Like, please, here's how you can continue to support our business. Like, it's a weird thing. As we have this perception of leadership as like power and stoicism and, these very defined traits of what a leader is. And yet, that's not what people want and need right now. Like, they want and need human connection and to know that like they're not the only one that feels like a hot mess all the time. And so I think for small businesses, we have to be willing to let that guard down and talk to our employees and talk to our customers and our clients and like be real.
So, Kate, I'm going to put you on the spot here because I know something about you. You are not only a business owner with employees, but you are a mother of a 3-year-old working from home. And thank you for taking time out. How are you doing, Kate?
It's rough.
What advice do you give?
None. Like, it's so funny. There's enough, like, it's so hard because you're balancing all these different emotions that you don't normally have to balance, right? Like, we've all already got our feelings closer to the surface. And then you're balancing like this guilt of, am I irreparably damaging my child by ignoring him? And then also the guilt of like, and yeah, I have a job. I have the privilege of working from home. I have the privilege of our family is currently healthy and we can order toys from a local business or Amazon or whatever will help us survive. So like you've got all these weird things happening. And I know that parents aren't the only group that are struggling right now, but we're definitely a subset and we have some pretty unique challenges. And I think for those of us with little ones, well, like it's a yeah.
Wow. That's off to you, my friend, because I know it's hard and I don't have that privilege of that, but I know it's hard. So we leave everyone with the same thing, and that is, Kate, tell me something good.
Yeah, so on that whole parenting vein, today my son's school had a parent town hall on Zoom. And like normally I kind of tune in and listen with like one ear while I'm trying to like get a bunch of work done and also like entertain the child on the other side of me. And yeah, at one point during it, the school leader actually like said to us all that like good enough is good enough. Like, at a certain point, it's okay to just say good enough is good enough. Now is not the time to stress about perfection. Now is not the time to stress about best practices and like doing everything by the book. Like, just be okay with good enough as good enough. And I was like, okay, I'm a fan of this. And then another teacher shared that whenever they talk to kids about their day, kids always tell them like what happened at the beginning of the day and what happened at the end of the day, but they never tell them about what happened in the middle of the day. And so she basically told us all, like, just focus on the end of the day, leave it on a high note. And everything I've heard about trying to like parent while working, not really working from home, like while being at home trying to work and parent and homeschool, has just felt so overwhelming and outside of my grasp. But this notion that like when I shut my laptop down, no matter what time of day that is, if that's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that I can paste a smile on my face and I can walk over and say like, hi, I'm done working now. How was your day? Like, I'm excited to eat dinner with you, or I'm excited to go play in the bathtub or go outside. Like, that felt manageable, felt like something I could do. And it was one of those things that just, it was like a light bulb moment for me that just like, I can do that. I can, for 10 minutes every day, I can pretend like this world is normal right now. And I can put on a big old smile and be genuinely happy to connect with my kid, no matter what the 10 hours before that looked like. And hopefully leave both of us with that like happy ending, the happy way to conclude our day.
I think that's great advice, and it's advice that I definitely needed today. I had technology issues and meetings that went long, and so thank you for that. It's gonna be okay. Kate, so much for joining us. We're gonna put your information, of course, while it was scrolling, and we'll put it on the Facebook page as well. So thanks for taking time out.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
And if you like these live interviews, we're doing them Monday through Friday during the week. And please join our Facebook group on Facebook and tell us your good news. Share with us what's going on. There's lots going on that's good. And we're trying to be that for the local area. So you can also visit our website at Epiphany Now, very odd spelling, EPIFANYNOW, meaning you can have an epiphany right now.org. And we'll see you tomorrow night with more good news.